Good afternoon, Peh McDaniel, Alu McDaniel. It's really good to see you on this Friday afternoon. I think we're about April 26th. We're on the downhill side of spring, headed for summer, better weather. And I hope you're having a good time. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday at 1:30. And yeah, talk to your lawyer, Steve Walls, about coming home. If you want to come home, I don't know. But that's what they told us to say is, if you have a question, talk to Steve Walls, Stephen Ray Walls. Yes, what a cartoon. But maybe he can help, it's not legally correct for him to represent both of you. He knows it. Other attorneys know it. And I've talked to a few, and they agree that it's a conflict. I'm not exactly sure what you call it, but he knows it is. I got to make another complaint to the bar about it because I made one complaint already, but they don't seem to have their act together. If you got a bunch of other attorneys talking the same thing, why doesn't the bar understand it? But that's the bar. It's sort of like a self-appointed, self-monitoring clique of lawyers, right? So, yeah, we're part of a case with Judge Hill, and Judge Hill thought that he was going to do the TPR with you guys, make it so you could never come home, and we said no, we didn't agree to that, so it went over there with another judge. But we said that that Judge Hill's biased against this, and a lot of judges would step aside. Most judges would step aside if there was that issue. Now, Judge Hill himself said that Matthew thinks the court is biased. Well, let me give you an example of how that is. Now, you've been in foster care 6.5 years, okay? Your mom doesn't do drugs. I don't do drugs and alcohol. Your mom doesn't do drugs and alcohol. She works full-time on the farm. I work full-time in my business. We pay our bills, and we struggle to get along because things have been made complicated for us, okay? And I had an exemption for all you kids, a state of Oregon, legally binding state of Oregon exemption for vaccines. Now, I ask all you people out there in Polk County, how many of you have exemptions for vaccines that you've gotten through the state of Oregon's program? Let me know. So I got those exemptions for all my kids way back. They're certificates, you do a video online and watch it and stuff, and then you can ask for a religious exemption. So that's what I did because I don't believe in the vaccine system the way it's run. I don't believe that you need to get Hep B vaccines for a 3 or 4 day old child when Hep B is transmitted by sexual intercourse, by bodily fluids and so forth. Where's a 6-day-old child going to get that? Okay. But anyway, they also contain contaminants. They contain mercury. They contain genetic material in some cases. Anyway, I didn't agree with it. So I got the exemptions. And when we were in court, Aubrey Haverkost, she was the caseworker from hell that was working our kids, and the bubble-headed bleach blonde, or whatever you want to say there, I don't know how to describe it. But anyway, she was pushing in court, vaccinate these kids. We want to get these kids vaccinated. Well, it came up the question because I had exemptions. And so Judge Hill asked me, why don't you believe in vaccinating your kids? And I said, it's my religious belief. I don't believe in it. And he said, oh, no, that sounds more like a scientific belief. So I'm going to overrule you and we're going to get all the kids vaccinated. So that's a bias. That's like the guy has exemptions done how the state of Oregon requires it. And Judge Hill says that don't count for shit. And the kids get vaccinated anyway. We don't care what you think. We don't care about your religious beliefs. We'll just say what you believe. Okay? So now, maybe it's not a religious belief unless it's a religious belief in graffiti or in being a crackhead. Maybe that's a legitimate religious belief in Oregon. I don't know. So that was one example. And I said that the judge was biased. The translator for my wife was working for DHS, but she was supposed to translate the confidential conversations between my wife and her attorneys. Okay? So how can you sit in a courtroom and know that the mother has no confidentiality and you're okay with it? And then when the court ordered DHS to allow the two little kids, Ape and Alum, two little kids, to have overnights every now and then with your mom at the farm, they never did it. Judge Hill even asked them why they didn't do it, but he didn't do anything about it. It was just like, yeah, we're in cahoots together with just whatever you want, whatever works out. We just let you run free and wild. You do what you want to this family. Now, my wife's from Southeast Asia. We're in Polk County, and so we don't know nothing about how discrimination surfaces there and at the schools. We don't know nothing about that. And so we've been at this 6.5 years. Now, I think, and I've heard that, Judge Hill hates Matthew McDaniel. So if other people are saying that, if I talk to an attorney and the attorney says, Judge Hill really dislikes you, well, that's definite bias. And so I don't think Judge Hill is fit to rule the case. Now, I don't have much say in anything. Okay, so let's get that straight. I get up in the morning and go to work. I make sure to visit my kids every Wednesday at 1:30 for an hour for 6.5 years. That's all I get. 1 hour. 1 hour a week. Okay? Now, Carissa Vela gets paid like $800 a piece to keep my kids from going home. The daughter she didn't get. I mean, you got to work that out with the boss, man. I can't help you there. But I'm not giving up my daughter. She's not for rent. She's not for sale. She's not for giveaway. Okay? So, anyway, a lot of this runs back to Aubrey Haverkost because she separated you two little kids out at the very beginning, and I told her what she was up to. She was prepping them for adoption because they made a package, and the state gets a bonus when they adopt out kids. State makes millions of federal money, but they have to take kids out of the home, and you all should know that. If you got kids, DHS will work their ass off. Those predominantly unhappy white women in DHS will work their asses off to take your kids away, especially if you're a minority woman or if you have a handicap or any other problems. Let me say, let's say you're a crackhead, man. You're full-time fentanyl, but that doesn't give DHS the right to abuse you. And you'll get that from the start. Now, if you have your case in Polk County, more than likely you're going to get Judge Hill. More than likely you're going to get screwed. Okay? So think about this. You're taking your kids. Maybe you have a meth problem, alcohol problem, domestic violence or something. You're taking your kids to Polk County Courthouse. And our two little kids have been in custody for 6.5 years. Okay? We always make our visits. We aren't in violation on our visits. Okay? A lot of stuff we just can't talk about, but that's the way it is. We play games, we tell jokes, we tell stories, we have fun. We bring tons of food. Michu preps up tons of food for the kids when they come by the farm. And she doesn't get a single overnight visit, and she doesn't get her kids back. 6.5 years. So how do you think you're going to do when you go to court in Polk Hill with these half-bitten attorneys like Matt Jarvis, Steve Walls? How do you think you're going to do if you have a meth problem, a domestic violence problem, a crack problem, a fentanyl problem, some problem that happens to people in their lives, how do you think you're going to do? I mean, there's attorneys. You know, Gary Hamilton, he said he'd never take another case in Polk County. And I know several attorneys, and I won't name names, but they don't want no cases. They don't want any cases in Polk County. If you're in some other county and you're an attorney and you don't have enough cases and someone says, hey, pick up these cases in Polk County, you're an idiot. If you think you're going to go into Judge Hill's courtroom, where the word in the street is that he emasculates attorneys. He just humiliates them in his court. I mean, take Brian Raymer. He's a DOJ attorney, and he don't ever plan on going back to Judge Hill's courtroom. That's a state attorney general's office attorney. Like, no way, man. No way. Ain't happening. Not going. Not going to do it. Right? So I guess Judge Hill is just people are just excited all over the place to be in his court. I don't know how you're going to keep your kids. You know, DHS, whatever they want, Judge Hill gives it to them. The 4 other of our kids came home, no problems, no issues. They all got jobs, going to school, working, successful. But yeah, Steve Walls, he knows that he can't represent Apen Alum, the both of you. He knows that. So the other thing is, you know, Michu, your mom, she wants you to come home. And Steve Walls has been screaming for TPR since day one, 2018, January 31st, February 1st, jumping up and down in the courtroom, just like a little monkey going, TPR, TPR. Okay, well, how's that going to work out? You know? You go into court and Steve Walls starts yelling TPR. You know? Now, we went to court, and my ex-wife, Lucinda DeMay, you know, I don't got anything against her. We had a daughter together. Things didn't work out. She told me I wasn't going to see my daughter, so mostly I didn't. My daughter's Anna Rose, Dusty McDaniel. Haven't heard from her in years. And in January of 2018, February 1st, 2018, I didn't make my ex-wife go to court. But Aubrey Haverkost got talking to her. And the story evolved. So she gets on the stand and she testifies. She lies on the stand. And Judge Hill says, I find the witness credible. You can look it up in the transcript. She wasn't cross-examined. Matt Jarvis, the flunky, you know, they railroaded this through in 2 days. He didn't cross-examine her. So we come in court again, and they brought back their little mascot, Lucinda Lynn DeMay. Sometimes she uses the last name King. She used to be a registered nurse. Don't know how that worked out. And she got properly cross-examined. And she was impeached. It was proven, based on court documents, that she lied. And Judge Hill used her testimony to help take away our 6 children and traumatize them. And traumatize Michu and, hey, whatever. You know? I don't know how I think about it. I just know there's a lot of fucking assholes in the world. And the court's corrupt. My horse got out in Polk County. I was in Santa Barbara. I don't know what happened. I went and found out that the fence was smashed down. Now he's been in another place for like 3 years, never broken through a fence, so I don't know what happened. So Aaron Felton, the district attorney of Polk County, charged me with a crime that I intentionally let the horse get out. I didn't. There's no interest for me to let my horse get out. Cost me $10,000 in legal fees. to defend the case, went to trial, and I won. But Polk County has time to do that to somebody if they're not biased and vindictive. So we got a biased judge. Case came up again. Want Judge Hill off the case. And went in front of Judge Campbell. And I think it took 30 seconds for him to say, well, the attorney didn't want to do what the judge wanted him to do, so how's that bias? Well, there's a lot more to it than that. You can contact me. My phone number, and I'll write it down on a piece of paper. My phone number is 971-388-7185. And you can contact me if you are headed into court about your kids in Polk County. Because I can tell you, you're going to get screwed. Okay, I don't know if you can read that. There it is. Okay, so maybe I got to write it backwards for the camera. So that would be 5. Oh, I'd have to write the 5 backwards too. Okay, give me a minute here. Okay, so 5. Okay, and then 8s are easy to write backwards, right? And then 1s are easy to write backwards. 7 is a little bit harder. And then we got 2 8s. You got to write the 3 backwards too. Okay, so write the 3 backwards. Then we got a 1, that's easy to do backwards. And we got a 7 backwards. And then a 9. So let's see. So the 9 has to be like that. So let me see if that's right. Is that better? Yeah. Okay, there you go. That's my phone number. If you're headed into family court in Polk County and DHS is trying to take your kids away, you can give me a call. And I can tell you how you're going to get totally screwed by DHS. Okay? We've been through the ringer. We've had bunches of attorneys. We got attorneys that were disgusted being in Judge Hill's court and they quit and would never come back again. And we've had wonderful caseworkers like Aubrey Haverkost and supervisors like Stacy Dashner, Amber McClellan, Laurel Gould. We had all kinds of people, Ritter, all kinds of people there, right? And somebody said in Polk County, these people never get those 2 little kids back. That's what somebody said. So we're going through TPR right now. Okay, so what's the chance that we're going to get a fair trial in Polk County regarding our kids coming home when you've already seen what 2 judges out of the 3 do? Okay, so I'm just letting you know what you're up against. All right, so, and it's like, there's one non-Anglo worker that I have seen at DHS Polk County, Dallas, Oregon. And that's just at the front desk, right? And all the rest of them are white chicks. Older, unhappy white chicks, right? Well, there's a couple gals there that are really nice to our kids. And that's a breath of fresh air. Now, there was a gal there named Shannon. She was wonderful. But as she said, I work on this side of the building. No comment. All right? So, yeah, you got to wonder about it all. Well, I don't know, I'd say Judge Hill is sadistic. There's something wrong there. I mean, if you ask me, this woman wants her 2 little kids back, and only a sadistic judge would continue to deny that she get her kids back. And I don't think that's correct. I don't think it's moral. Those 2 little kids, Apen Alum, there's a small area community. You live in Monmouth. You have friends at school. They should know that your mom lives about 15 minutes away and has cried herself to sleep every single night for you two little kids. You know, I have a pair of pants of yours, Alum, from when you were 2.5 years old, when they ripped you off in the middle of the night. I think time will tell an awful lot about this story. When Aubrey Haverkost separated you off to another family that didn't speak your language, was perfectly fine with it. You tell me if that doesn't end up haunting Aubrey Haverkost. I think it's Aubrey Lynn Haverkost for the rest of her life. She screams in the middle of the night, and she will not be consoled. Some things can be forgiven. So don't ever let anybody tell you your mom and dad don't want you to go home. Steve Walls, he wants to make sure you get adopted out no matter what happens. He wants to make sure. Well, that isn't going to make it go away now, is it, Steve? And going away. Hell hath no fury. Now, I know people that know the Vela family. There's Abraham Vela. There's Mo Vela. I know people that know you. You're in a small community. And you're taking 2 children that don't belong to you. And you're getting paid to do it. And you're sleeping with extremely corrupt DHS. Now, there's people that adopted kids and DHS came right back and ripped them off again. They get money. They can adopt the kids out to you and then rip them off again. They already got their $6,000 a piece. Rip them off again and get paid more matching funds for taking them. You know? It's satanic. The children of Lucifer. Those are the people that are making all this happen. All the players. We got Sarah Hernandez. Everybody knows this case in Polk County. They call it the saga. It's hysterical, if you ask me. You know, I worked in Thailand a really long time. You know what I found out? Karma catches up with deadbeat evil people. Doesn't matter what position they have. No matter who's in power, there's somebody more powerful that doesn't like them because they're a little shit. Because they're mean, they're cruel, they're sadistic. They get their rocks off doing cruel stuff to a mother. You know, that's got to be, I mean, you got to go a long ways. I'd tell anybody about this case, and there ain't anybody that says, well, he's just doing his job. No, nobody's talking like that. So for all you people out there that have kids and you end up in court, you need to have some idea what's going to go on. Your attorney needs to be on their game, not some sellout douchebag. And Peh McDaniel, Aubrey McDaniel. They enjoy their time with their mother. We got tons of videos of them eating and having a feast. I mean, every time they go there. Okay, you kids in Monmouth Elementary School, you know Peh McDaniel, Aubrey McDaniel. You know them. You tell me, any of you that eat as good as our two little kids do on their visits. Okay, so crab, almost every week. Baby back ribs, mangoes, strawberries off the farm, whipped cream, gummy bears, steamed shrimp, okay, fried chicken, you name it. These kids, they eat really good. They eat better. I guarantee you that Peh and Aubrey McDaniel can have anything they want when it comes to food. They eat better than anybody at the schools in Monmouth when they go visit, meet you, or come to my visits. We treat them like kings. We get our kids what they want. Our kids have good cars. They live in good houses. They have a farm. They have a train set. Their dad works to make sure they have what they need. They got a boat. Been a while since you've seen your boat, Alum, but I can tell you for damn sure there isn't anybody in your school got a boat like that. All right? Go around the world without even thinking twice. You want a Corvette? I seen a really nice red Corvette the other day in the Home Depot parking lot. First thing I thought of was Alum and Peh. All right? Yeah, we'd have ponies for our horses, but you know, a horse getting out is a big crime in Polk County. They don't got anything else to do except bust stuff like that. Putting a jury together for a horse getting out. I'll tell you what, that was a whole bunch of pissed off jurors there. Like, what a freaking joke. All right, so Carissa Vela's caught in all this. She could just sit down and have a hamburger, a pizza, dinner, come over for a barbecue and talk to us. But then I think all the lights would turn on and she'd have a real hard time not admitting what's going on and what part she's playing in it. But we don't hate her. We just don't quite, don't quite understand how someone could understand what they're involved in. I mean, she has other foster kids too, so she does it for the income so she doesn't have to go to work, like a real job. Now, what was I doing today? I was crawling around in a couple of boats, making sure they ran right. The other day I was building the fence 210 feet long. I do contracting. I do boat repair, diesel, gas engines. You got a submarine that needs repaired, give me a call. Yeah, Peh and Alum. So look forward to our visits. Let me know anything you want. And you got those little race cars. I've been trying to get them repaired for a year, but nobody's cooperating. And let me tell you about the future. We don't know how we're going to get a fair trial in this TPR case in Polk County because of everything we've seen so far. Okay? So Judge Hill is the presiding judge. So does any of the other judges want to go against him? It's not looking like that. They can make whatever decisions they want, but they can't stop the rest of us from laughing. That's what they can't do, okay? I mean, but the Polk County circus, they call it a saga. I call it a circus. It's like a joke, it's like, just sit down with anybody. Well, you're I haven't been back to the farm in years, you know. Oh, we got this reason and that reason. They can't go home, you know. It's just arbitrary. Time will judge. Time will judge these people. Okay? I'll keep making bar complaints. I'll make another complaint to the Judicial Fitness Board. I mean, when you say you won't back out of a case no matter what, it certainly tells somebody you got some bias. It's a warning to anybody that's going to serve or work or have a case there. You're not going to get a fair shake. All right? I wonder what you teach in law. When all the people at Willamette University know that Judge Hill has kept two little kids from going home for 6.5 years. They've spent 90% of their growing up time in a foreign home, away from their language, away from their culture, all of it. It doesn't matter what has happened in the sense of they lost their language, they lost their culture, all that was just fine because it's DHS office Dallas. Bunch of freaking assholes at the DHS office in Dallas. Now you try to tell me that there's not a lot of racism in Polk County, a lot of racism at the DHS office. There are people there that said, whatever you do, and it's up there in Salem too, whatever you do, never let these kids go home. You know, the Oregon DHS Mafia, I just shipped off a ton of those books out of state to other people and let people know what Oregon's doing to families. People ask me all the time, you know a lawyer that'll fight DHS? Hardly. They get most of their work from the state of Oregon, so why are they going to fight them? They just go and rub their hands together and twiddle their thumbs in court. And if they're out of county, if they're coming from out of county, then the judge just shits on them, all right? Humiliates them, right? Make sure they never want to come back in his court again. You know, my wife, your mom, said that, told Judge Hill, you send my kids home, and if I break any rules, you can come take my kids again. That wasn't good enough for Judge Hill. Wasn't good enough. But I find the witness credible, especially if she hasn't been cross-examined. There's a ring of truth. There's a ring, like a ring of truth. You know, maybe it's like a ring around the bathtub. I don't know, but there's a ring of truth. Therefore, if we have an accusation, we have evidence. It could have happened. Therefore, it must have happened. So, Apen Alum, I wish you well in life. As long as I'm here, I will get you anything you need. You can call my phone number. There it is again, 971-388-7185. All right? You can call that number. If you're a mother or a father and you're getting absolutely hosed in Polk County Family Court and you think there's an awful lot of bullshit going on but you don't have anybody to talk to, call me. I always pick up my phone. If it rings and I don't pick it up, it's like I'm working, I got stuff in my hands. As soon as I get a break and sit down, I'll call you back. All right, I'm out of these groups on, I think it's Facebook. There's all these groups, like Oregon's DHS, CPS, Child Trafficking Mafia is a Facebook group. And there's Oregon Parents Fight Back. And there's Family Forward Oregon, which is a national group. And there's, you know, get rid of dishonest judges off the bench. And there's tons of groups now compared to 6 years ago. I mean, there are so many groups. I mean, like, let me go down just a list of them here for you because it's it's huge. Never Give Up for Our Children. Officers of the Union. Family Forward Oregon. Meaning of the U.S. Constitution. You know, they violate our constitutional rights to our family and our children all the time in court. That's what they do. Okay? United States government, the county governments, the state governments are completely and absolutely corrupt. Okay? How is a court and how is DHS going to give you back your children if they have like minimums? They get these millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in matching funds from the federal government, Title 4E funds, if they remove the kids from the home. So they're incentivized to take away the kids and keep them as long as possible. Child custody cases, there's a ton of these groups online. And so it's all the same thing. Parents fighting to get kids back. And the churches are complicit. You got people like Carissa Vela who's making money off those kids. Did you know that, Ape and Lalum? Michu never made money off you kids. But Carissa Vela gets paid like $800 a month for each one of you, plus the other kids she has, right? So it's a cash cow, all right? It's like I got to work real hard for $1,600. You know, I got to do something, all right? I don't get paid $1,600 to babysit, right? So, like if she gets $800 a month, let's figure this out a minute. I mean, shouldn't I have to take the day off on Wednesdays to come see you, so shouldn't I get part of that? I don't know. Anyway, maybe one day she'll want to see the light and come and talk about it and understand what she was complicit in. And she has said that if you are adopted out, she will not allow you to see your mother, father, brothers, and sisters. So that means you won't see Michu, your mother. You won't see me, your father. You won't see Victor, your brother. You won't see Atsa, your brother. You won't see Ango, your brother. And you won't see Apum, your sister. Now, you might not understand what I'm saying, but somebody out there on YouTube is seeing these videos and they'll understand what I'm saying. And it's unfortunate, but on some level, one has to say, Carissa is not your friend. She just wants you because, you know, she's making money off you, and she wants a daughter. And that's child abuse. So Carissa is keeping you from going home because she wants a daughter she doesn't have. That's a psychological problem. Okay? The counselors pointed it out years ago. So your school teachers should know that you're sort of like a prisoner. And DHS and the court and Carissa are, and Steve Walls, that little Steve Walls, they're working to keep you from going home because they think they have the power and the right to do that. But I'm reminded of a joke. This burglar broke into a house and he heard some noise in a room. I think I get this right. And he goes in there, it's dark, and he hears someone say, God is watching you. God is watching you. Just like God watches over you at Ape and Alu. Voice goes, God is watching you. And the robber's in the house, it's all dark. Goes down the hallway, it says, God is watching you. And he opens this door very slowly and he says, who's there? And the voice says, Jesus. And so the robber can't see anybody, so he turns on the light. And he says, who the hell names their parrot Jesus? And the parrot says, the same people that named their Rottweiler God. And Judge Hill I'm just a simple human. I don't make the rules. But Judge Hill and Carissa Vela and Aubrey Haverkost, Laurel Gold, Amber McClellan, they should know that God is watching. Sometimes he moves fast. I've seen that happen. And sometimes he moves slow, but he always moves. He sees what you're doing to meet you. He knows it's unfair. He knows it's biased on the part of Judge Hill. It's immoral. It's despicable. It's cruel. He knows that. I don't have to tell him. He has his own eyes. He can see. And he can see the attorneys that don't get off their ass and do anything about it. They just go along because they keep getting their paycheck no matter what. It's all just business to them. Reminds me out of like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just good business. All right. So we got that going on. I don't worry about it too much. I don't know how this will turn out. But Alum, you're almost 10. We go back to court in June. Peh, you're almost 8. And you will grow up so fast. And good things and good family and good brothers will be waiting for you. But we will never let go the players who kept you from going home. And we will tell you how that was done when you grow up. There's no place to run. There's no place to hide for the people that did this, that they can somehow take you and keep it secret what's happened. They can't. We'll keep making these videos. They can't keep it secret. All right? A red Corvette. That was a really nice car. I got a picture I'll show you at the visit. It was a really nice car. We had ponies, but because of Aaron Felton, the district attorney, they were your ponies, we got rid of them because we couldn't afford another $10,000 should they get out. Sometimes livestock gets out. They didn't hurt anybody, didn't destroy anything. They just got out, right? You got 12 acres of fences, stuff happens. You know, people, there's like mountain lions come on our property. We have witnesses to that. So things happen. But we got rid of the ponies because of that. Because that's what goes on. Don't be bringing no Asian woman to Polk County. That was the message. And if you do, we're going to make life hard for you. We're going to take your kids. We're never going to give them back. And the word is that Judge Hill hates Peh McDaniel. Don't tell me he's not biased. All people want is fairness, compassion. Now that's a thought. Judge Hill has absolutely no compassion for Michu. And down the road, when you two kids grow up, you're going to ask yourself that. Our mom wanted us back so bad, and Judge Hill had no compassion. If you look at poetry and history, what does it say? Everybody runs their race. And there's a time, I had a friend, he died last week, old man. He's pretty old. Been in the Vietnam War, had one leg. Always said hi to me in the mornings when I went to get coffee. Good guy. He died. Got old, he died. There's no escape. You pay in this life or you pay in the next life. But you have to answer for what you do. And how does it work out when you're totally lacking in compassion? How does that work out? Remember the story of Lazarus, the poor beggar? It was this little Asian woman that had two little precious kids. And he begged and begged to get back his two little precious kids. And the rich judge wouldn't give him back his two precious little kids. Wouldn't give them back to their mom. And then later, oh, that poor little woman, all she wanted is her two little kids, and you wouldn't give them to her. You were too busy hating. You wouldn't give her her two little kids. And she loved her two little kids so much. Didn't do any drugs, didn't do any alcohol, worked hard, sold her vegetables at the market. You know how many times, Aubrey, you've said to me, I want to go to the market and sell vegetables with my mom? All right? Learn how to make money, learn how to grow vegetables. You were eating her fresh strawberries last week. You didn't have the compassion to send those two little kids home to their mom. She don't break any rules. Matthew doesn't break any rules. No compassion. So let's say after 8 years or 6 years or 7 years here, oh yeah, now we can send the kids home. How will you make up for the lost years? How will you make up for the lost years? You stole the childhood from those little kids and loaned them out to somebody else. Blood money. So, Alum, it's like a blank check, man. Anything you want, just tell me. Maybe you got friends at school that'll say, hey, Alum, you ought to tell your dad you want one of these. Hey, remember the two little ATVs? We got two nice little ATVs for you. And you know what? You get to ride ATVs at the foster home. And I asked Sarah, do they have to have special permission? And she said yes. And I said, like a signed document. And she said yes. And I said, let me see it. Because she was lying, man. And we got you two little precious ATVs for kids. And they're at the farm. And Sarah saw to it that you would never ride those two little ATVs. Tell me about that, Sarah. One day, God will ask you how you could be so cruel to have two little kids know that they have ATVs that are only theirs, and you wouldn't let them ride them. And I don't care your reason, you're full of shit. Okay? All you gals up there in the admin and DHS Dallas are just a bunch of bigoted white chicks. White supremacists, I guess you could say it that. But here's this Asian woman that does everything she can to give her kids the best food, the best house, the best farm, the best of everything. There isn't anything Michu won't do or get for those kids. All right?